Hi, everyone. Sean Gilliam here. Welcome to another episode of my podcast, Real Estate on the Front Range. In this episode, I'll be covering the monthly market update for November. And then I also want to highlight some important research that's been done that shows the behavior of the real estate market after major elections like the one we just had. So good information for you there. And then I also want to take a look at National Association of REALTORS annual report that shows the typical behavior of home buyers and home sellers. And so some good, interesting information for you. I hope it's helpful, so stay tuned as we get into the data. Hi, everyone. Welcome to Real Estate on the Front Range, my podcast where I cover all things real estate here on the Front Range of Northern Colorado. Join me to get market updates, tips, and information on relevant topics to make sure you are fully informed before you buy and sell your next home. This is Sean Gilliam, your host, and I look forward to you joining me on your favorite podcast for the latest episodes. All right, well, let's go ahead and get into the information. I pulled some data regarding the election and what historically the market or how it responds right after a major election, like I said, like the one we just had. This is an article put out by Keith Griffith on Realtor.com, and it's titled Election 2024, Home Buyers Waiting for Results Could Finally Come Off the Sidelines. And as you may know, and I've highlighted this in prior market updates throughout this year, that when we have a major election coming up, as we had this year, a lot of times buyers and sellers will sit on the sideline until that's over. They want to see what the economy is going to look like. I would also add that this year's been a little unique in that affordability has been a factor as well. So we've got higher average home prices and then the higher interest rates, which has also kept a lot of people on the sidelines. But we might see more activity based on just the fact that the election is over. And as many think that since President Trump will now be the president, that the economy will move in a better direction. But these are some of the highlights that Keith Griffith had pulled for this article. So on average, in the 4 months following the past five presidential elections, home sales jumped 7% annually. And then also the average sale price of homes rose by 5%, which is very significant in a market now where activity is lessened just because there's less buyer demand due to those higher interest rates and affordability factors, like I mentioned. So that could be good news. If that plays out the way the past research has shown, then yeah, we should see a 7% increase in sales and a 5% increase in home values. Now, this is national data. This is where the research is pulled from, so that'll be different from market to market. I will say that while this might be the historical data that they pulled, we do have that headwind of affordability. So that could impact what the next 4 months look like once President Trump is in office. Another thing that was interesting is that home sales overall increased in 9 out of the last 11 elections. And so similar information, it just shows that the trend is that markets are typically more active in a good way after a major election. And then home prices increased the year after every election ever, except for the one in 2008. And we all know what happened then. That's when we had the major mortgage crisis and the housing crisis and all that kind of thing went on. So that is the data that indicates historically what happens after an election, and hopefully will continue on with this election. All right, let's go ahead and take a look then at the NAR profiles for home buyers and sellers. So this is research that they do. They interview a lot of home buyers and sellers and get an idea of some average data of what a typical buyer and seller look like. So here's one of the highlights. First-time buyers decreased to 24% of the market share. It was 32% last year. So first-time buyers decreased. I'm going to say that that had something to do with affordability. This year now marks the lowest share since NAR began collecting the data in 1981. So this is the lowest amount of market share for first-time home buyers. Again, I think affordability is the major factor in that. The median first-time buyer age increased to 38 years old this year from 35 last year. Back in the 80s, it was in the mid-20s. And so it just goes to show that as time goes on, and home values increase, so does the median age of the first-time home buyer, just because it takes more money to purchase a home. And right now we're looking at 38-year-olds are the typical first-time home buyer. Let's see, the median first-time buyer age increased to 38 years old, while the typical repeat buyer age also increased to 61 years old. So people that have already owned a home before and perhaps just sold or are buying another home, the median age for that buyer is 61. So a lot of people are likely sitting in their homes, they're not moving. And again, I think that just reflects the market that we're in. The typical age of a home seller was 63 this year, and that's the highest age ever recorded since they started doing these annual reports on home buyer and seller profiles. So the typical age of a home seller was 63. Again, I just think that points to the idea that people are staying in their homes longer. And then the median number of years seller that owned their home was 10 years, the same as last year. So that number was higher than reported from 2000 to 2008, when the tenure in the home was only 6 years. So it used to be, especially when I started out in this business some 9 years ago, that the average home owner would stay in their home for 6 years and then they'd want to sell. And that gave us some tips on who to target for marketing and those kinds of things. But now it's about 10 years. And I think that's probably going to stay that way because most people, some data that I read here for Colorado, is that 90% of homeowners in Colorado that have a mortgage have an interest rate below 5%. A lot of us are in the 2 and 3% range. So that means that homeowners are probably going to stay where they're at as long as we're in this higher interest rate environment with some affordability factors with that as well. So that is the data taken from NAR's report. Gives some interesting information, I think, and might also give you some insight into how the market is behaving and how that might influence whether you buy or sell a home. All right, now I want to take a look at mortgage interest rates and how they've been trending. We'll go ahead and take a look at my favorite site for that, and I recommend this one. It's called Mortgage News Daily. They show the interest rates as they're trending, but also some important data if you like getting into the numbers on what's going on and all the variables that determine mortgage interest rates. But as you can see here today, this is the 14th. The 30-year fixed rate conventional loan is getting about a 7.02% interest rate. And as you may know, it used to be 6.17 as of September 9th. You can kind of see that here on this chart as I highlight that, but 6.14% on September 16th, rather. And we saw a lot of activity. We saw some increased market activity based on that, as we'll see when we look at the data. But they abruptly jumped right up to over 7%, and that's where we stand today. So we'll see how that impacts the market activity when we revisit the data next month. And I bet it's going to result in fewer closings and less activity on the market. But right now, the 30-year fixed rate is 7.02%. You can get an FHA for 6.3% and a VA for 6.32%. So if you're an FHA or a VA buyer, you can get a lower rate than you would with a conventional loan. And because homes are not moving as fast, it's a little easier to get an FHA or a VA loan or offer accepted. So a good thing to consider. As I've said before, another thing to consider is new construction because some of them are offering with their preferred lender rates as low as 3.99% if you qualify. So just something to keep in mind if you're considering buying a home but are on the fence because of affordability, new construction homes might be the way to go. And then I want to highlight what inflation is doing. And this is this chart right here shows month over month what the inflation rate is doing. And as we just had the data come in just a couple of days ago, the inflation rate for October is 2.6. And that's slightly up from September. But as you can see, overall, it's trending down. Our peak was June of 2022 when it was 9.1. And I think what's happened over time is it's had a lag effect because inflation has been high for quite a while. A lot of people I've talked to have had to dip into savings, IRAs, 401ks, and people are starting to run out of money. So hopefully the economy improves and inflation continues to go down, and that will allow people to better take care of themselves and meet their financial goals. But then also over time, we'll see an uptick in market activity in the real estate market because people are feeling more confident in the economy and their personal situation as well. So that's what's going on with mortgage rates, with the CPI, the Consumer Price Index. That's the main metric that we look at for inflation, just to give you an idea of where things are trending. All right, we're going to go ahead now and get into the data for Boulder, Larimer, and Weld counties, just so you can get an idea of what's happening here. All right, so new listings in Boulder County for October. That was up 28.2%. So we had 341 new listings in Boulder County compared to 2023 when we had 266. And then we jump down to closed sales. Those are up 15.6%. So 274 closed sales in October compared to 237 in 2023. We did see a slight increase in the days on market until sale. That's up almost 16% from last year at this time. So it takes 66 days for a home to be on the market before it gets an offer or goes under contract, compared to 57 days last year. If we look at the average sales price of a home in Boulder County, it's $1,054,599. That is down 4.1% from last year at this time. As you can see, it was a year ago, 1,100,026. Percent of list price received has gone down, so this shows that it's more favorable for buyers. They have more negotiation power, and so that's down 0.6%. At 97.8% of the original list price compared to last year when homes were selling on average at 98.4%. Inventory of homes for sale, 826. That's up almost 21% compared to last year. And then month supply of inventory is at 3.4. That's up 9.7% from last year. Again, keep in mind, 6 months is what we call a balanced market between buyers and sellers. So we're inching closer to a balanced market, but still, by the numbers, a seller's market. All right, let's go ahead and take a look now at Larimer County. New listings are up 15% at 482 new listings for October of 2024 compared to last year when it was 419. Our closed sales are up 24.7%. So 379 closed sales in October compared to 304 in October of 2023. And then the days on market until sale has gone up almost 18%. So 73 days on the market before a home goes under contract compared to 62 at this time last year. The average sales price for a home in Larimer County is $676,257. That's up 3% compared to last year. And the percent of list price received is slightly trending downward. It's negative 0.6%. Homes on average are selling at 98.2% of their original list price compared to last year at this time when it was 98.8%. The inventory of homes for sale is 1,152. That's up 30.3% compared to last year. So that's a significant increase. Last year, there were 884 homes on the market in October of 2023. Month supply of inventory is 3.4. That's up 36% compared to last year when it was at 2.5. So again, that MSI, or month supply of inventory, is slowly creeping up as we go here. Again, we'll see what happens with now that we're past an election. Will some of these numbers change as a trend? Will we see the month supply of inventory go down? Will we see the days on market until sale go down and some increased market activity that would result in a higher average sales price? We shall see. Let's jump over here to Weld County. Similar numbers, new listings are up almost 16%. So 546 new listings compared to last year at this time when it was 471. Closed sales is up 14% at 406 closed sales for October compared to last year when it was at 356. The days on market until sale is at 74. That's up 15.6% compared to last year when it took 64 days for a home to go under contract. The average sales price for a home in Weld County is $536,085. That's down 4.4% compared to last year when it was at just over $560,000. And then the percent of list price received is at 99.1%. That is up 0.2% compared to last year when it was at 98.9. And then the inventory of homes for sale is up 19.2%. So 1,193 homes on the market in Weld County for October of this year compared to last year when there were 1,001 homes on the market. And then the month supply of inventory is 2.9, which is up 11.5% from last year at this time when I was at 2.6. So that is the Year over year data, I do want to jump over and just take a quick look at some helpful charts here that Iris puts out through InfoSparks. Good information. As you can see how the market is trending here, move myself out of the way. This is for single family homes, and I'm comparing Boulder, Larimer, and Weld counties. And we're going back 3 years. So that's what the chart represents. But average sales prices are slightly up, and they're kind of trending sideways here for the most part for Larimer and Weld counties. Boulder is a bit more choppy, and we've seen a pretty fair increase as far as the average sales price change month over month. When we look at, let's see, the percent of list price received, that's kind of trending downward. I think that's just an indication of how our market is trending because of those affordability factors. It's possibly a little more pronounced here when you look at the average versus the median. But yeah, that just shows that homes are sitting on the market longer, as we saw, and that gives buyers a little more negotiating power when they consider writing an offer. And that leads to our days on market until sale. You can see here a pretty significant spike here in October. We go back here to June when it was at its lowest, or May rather. That's when things appeared more normal and more consistent with what we've seen in recent years. But the spike here in January, and it looks like it's heading back in that direction. So again, we'll see how that goes as the months go on. And then the month supply of inventory, it was trending upward throughout this year, and then it's kind of peaked and it's kind of tapered off now. So again, we'll see what happens as the market continues now that we're past the election. So hope this information is helpful. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to get in touch. Again, if this is helpful information, please subscribe, because then you'll get notifications when I have new updates that come out. I also do other information that is helpful about the market and where the best buys are, and important information too about our contracts and other documents, so that you can be well informed before you make your next move. I look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.